It has been 4 years since minimum wage workers have received a pay raise. Since that point, incomes of the top 1% have grown more than 31%, while CEO pay is 354 times that of the average employee. Meanwhile, the minimum wage in its real value is at historic lows. Adjusted for inflation, the 1968 minimum wage was at $10.60 an hour. The minimum wage today is only $7.25. That comes out to approximately $15,000 a year for an individual and $30,000 a year for a family with 2 parents.
I think what we had this year was a good news, bad news story. We had a reduction in poverty from last year. We had a reduction in child poverty from 22% to 20%. So we roughly addressed the blip from the recession, got back close to 2007, but that's not an acceptable level. We still have 1 in 5 kids, 1 in 5 young adults, young people beginning their careers.
Minimum wage should be set according to the cost of living of the area that the people are working. For example, San Francisco, really expensive, probably the most expensive place to live in the United States.
On the sales of the next month for their yearly profits. But a major problem faces our retailers this season. Too many people, many of them employed by retailers themselves, do not make enough money to purchase the consumer goods that drive our economy.
I think it's enough for like students, it's just for them to make money, but for like adults, I feel like it should be at least like $4 or $6 more, since a lot of places are expensive to live at, like in the Bay Area. Rent is really expensive. Just for one studio, it's almost like $800. So, I think they should raise it up.
The president has worked so hard to encourage Congress to give those workers a raise. They certainly have earned it. It would have a substantially and beneficial impact on the U.S. economy. It certainly would make a difference in the lives of those hardworking Americans.
But we aren't just about raising minimum wage. We want workers to have the ability to bargain living wages across the service sector in this nation, because we know when service jobs become good jobs, we are going to help create the next American middle class that includes everybody this time. And we want to continue to work with brothers and sisters in the labor movement on raising auto parts jobs and Walmart jobs. And so we all have a lot to do.
I think the minimum wage should be like age restricted, for like 16 to maybe 19-year-olds have the $9 minimum wage. And once you get into like 20-year-olds and above, when you have to start paying for rent, food, and all the bills by yourself, pretty much, I think it should be raised, definitely.
Your minimum wage is that if you raise it, then it'll defeat the purpose of competing for jobs, and it'll raise costs of things, and it would create more unemployment.
According to an online article, employees that earn minimum wage tend to be young and work in businesses that keep a few cents of each sales dollar after expenses. When the minimum wage goes up, these employees are forced to either pass costs on to consumers in the form of higher prices or cut costs everywhere else, leading to less full service and more customer self-service. As a result, fewer hours and jobs are available for less skilled and less experienced employees. Minimum wage increases do not help reduce poverty. Award-winning research looked at states that raised their minimum wage between 2003 and 2007 and found no evidence to suggest these higher minimum wages reduce poverty rates.